Welcome everyone to this training session on getting started with OPUS Reports and Dashboards, otherwise known as ORD, for Mint. In this course, we're going to look at what ORD is and its benefits. We'll recognize the key components of ORD, so query objects, reports, and dashboards. We'll distinguish between ORD roles and when each is used. We'll find and open query objects, reports, and dashboards in the ORD catalog. We'll configure a query object, create a report using your query objects, and then build a dashboard. So on the agenda, firstly, we'll take a look at an introduction, the ORD overview and framework, ORD catalog and roles, query objects, reports, and then dashboards. To start with, let's first understand some basic terminologies related to the OPUS platform. User experience in the orchestrating platform for universal solutions, that is OPUS, consists of an application, which is a headless API, and the solution, which provides the user interface, so the UI. What this means is you can configure the UI for your users while the programming that controls the application remains the same. For example, Multi-Enterprise Process Link, MPL, is an application of Multi-Enterprise Information Network Tower, i.e. the Mint solution. Likewise, for ORD, Report Builder is an application, and OPUS Reports and Dashboards, or ORD, is the solution. Let's meet Myra. Myra is a supply chain planner at a pharmaceutical company that relies heavily on external partners to get products to patients. On the upstream side, she works with multiple contract manufacturing organizations who produce and package finished goods on her company's behalf. On the downstream side, she depends on third-party logistics providers, wholesalers, and hospitals or pharmacies to move and store product and ultimately make sure it's available where patients need it. This kind of extended multi-enterprise network with CMOs, 3PLs, and customers all connected is exactly the environment our Mint and OPUS solutions are designed for, enabling digital orchestration of processes like order management, inventory management, and forecast management across all these partners. From Myra's point of view, the big challenge is that every one of these partners has its own systems, its own processes, and its own way of sharing information. Without digitalization and orchestration, she's constantly chasing answers to basic questions. Did the CMO confirm my PO? Did they ship on time? What's really in stock at the 3PL warehouse? Can we meet our customers' orders on time and in full? In this course, OPUS Reports and Dashboards are the tools we'll use to help Myra answer these questions quickly and consistently. Once Mint is exchanging POs, acknowledgements, ASNs, inventory balances, and other transactions in real time across her partners, ORD lets her turn that data into clear, reusable reports and dashboards. So instead of chasing answers in emails and spreadsheets, she can see immediately whether suppliers can meet the forecast, whether POs are confirmed and shipping in full, and where inventory or service risks are emerging across her network. Before we move on, here's something to think about. Who is your Myra? The person who spends a lot of time coordinating with external partners, chasing down order status, shipment dates, and inventory levels across the network. It might be a supply chain planner, an external manufacturing lead, a customer service manager, or someone in logistics operations. Now, what partners do they depend on? In many pharma supply chains, that includes contract manufacturers and packagers, CMOs, CPOs, who produce and package finished goods. Third-party logistic providers, 3PLs, who handle warehousing, inventory, and distribution. Wholesalers and distributors who place orders and move product downstream. Hospitals and pharmacies that ultimately dispense products to patients. Now let's take a look at the ORD overview and framework. When we talk about helping Myra answer her key questions, OPUS Reports and Dashboards, what we'll call ORD, is the main tool we'll be using. ORD is TraceLink's next-generation data visualization capability that runs on the OPUS platform. It gives you real-time visibility into the data from your licensed TraceLink products based on the business objects that matter to you, like purchase orders, ASNs, invoices, and many others. Companies can create their own reports and dashboards, combining tables and charts, so stakeholders see exactly the data that is most important to their business goals and can make quick decisions using the right information. A key point is that ORD is fully no-code and designed for business users. Reports and dashboards are created using an intuitive drag-and-drop interface that shows real-time data as you build, so the page looks exactly the way the report designer intends, without needing to know complex query languages or write any code. This aligns with TraceLink's broader OPUS vision of democratizing access to end-to-end supply chain integration and orchestration through no-code tools. From a business perspective, what this means for Myra and for you is that once transactions are flowing through solutions like Mint, ORD provides a structured, no-code way to access and visualize that global supply chain data. These are some personas who might benefit from ORD. First is TraceLink administrators. They can configure and manage query object reports and dashboards that provide actionable insights to help organizations reach their goals. TraceLink administrators can create query objects, report definition, reports, and dashboards for your company users. They even share them on the TraceLink marketplace. A business user can tap into these insights when it comes to decision making. They typically have a deep understanding of supply chain orchestrations and need the right information to make the right choices. Partners get access to the reports and dashboards the owners grant them access to. Both parties can now look at the same data at the same time to solve supply chain challenges. Let's now talk about the structure. ORD is based on a simple three-tiered hierarchy that moves us from raw data to powerful insights. But first, let's talk about business objects because these are really the building blocks for ORD. Business objects. The entire process starts not with code, but with a simple question. What do you want to see? The answer always points us to our business objects. Are you tracking a purchase order, an invoice, or maybe an advanced shipment notice? You first imagine the objects you need to combine to tell your story. Now let's look into the ORD framework, starting with the first layer called Query Objects. This is layer 1, Query Objects. Once you know your business objects, they come together in the query object. You can associate primary, secondary, tertiary, and even quaternary objects from an application within query objects. A single well-defined query object can be reused to create multiple different reports. You define the structure once, and you build many reports from it. Layer 2, Reports. A report is built on top of the query object. It gives you your metrics and data in a clear tabular format, the rows and columns. This is your structured data set. And finally, layer 3, Dashboards. This is where the magic happens, the visualization. Reports give you the numbers while dashboards give you the visualization. We take that tabular data and transform it into charts and graphs. This is typically a no-code drag-and-drop environment. And just like the query object, one underlying report can be used to fuel multiple visualizations on a single dashboard, or even be shared across multiple dashboards. So the flow is simple. Business objects to query object to report to dashboard. Let's understand these slightly complex concepts with a car analogy. The query object is equivalent to the engine sensors. Just like sensors in a car collect data about speed, fuel, and temperature, they are the foundation that captures what's happening under the hood. The report is like the instrument readings. The data from those sensors is displayed in meaningful ways, like how your speedometer shows speed or your fuel gauge shows levels. That's your report. It organizes and presents raw data into clear, structured insights, so you can understand what's going on. And finally, the dashboard is like the driver's view. Now imagine all your key readings displayed together on your car's dashboard. You don't need to check each sensor individually. You get the full picture immediately. In short, query object gathers data, like sensors. Report translates it into readable information, like gauge readings. Dashboard combines everything into one clear visual view, like your car dashboard. In ORD, query objects gather real-time data from your supply chain. For example, purchase orders, acknowledgements, invoices, and more. Reports leverage query objects to display tabular data for business objects that meet the specified criteria. At the report level, you say, my report is going to focus on purchase orders and POACs. Then choose filters and columns. The dashboard pulls insights from multiple reports and presents what matters most, helping you steer your supply chain efficiently. As we move into the next sections, we'll go deeper into each of these pieces and then use them together to build the kind of visibility that Myra and your own teams need. We've talked about Myra's world, unconfirmed POs, limited visibility into what CMOs and 3PLs are doing, and the key questions she needs to answer about supplier performance, inventory risk, and on-time delivery. We've also introduced ORD as the no-code analytics layer on top of our TraceLink solutions, giving real-time visibility into the business objects that matter like purchase orders and ASNs through query objects, reports, and dashboards. From this point on, we're going to follow Myra through a practical journey in ORD. You'll see how she starts from query objects that combine data from Mint, such as ASNs and purchase orders, into a reusable structure she needs. Then uses interactive capabilities like filtering, grouping, pivots, and computed fields to analyze performance across her partners. You'll see how she starts from query objects that combine data from Mint, such as ASNs and purchase orders, into a reusable structure for analysis, builds reports on top of those query objects, defining report criteria, filters, and columns to pull back exactly the data she needs. Then uses interactive capabilities like filtering, grouping, pivots, and computed fields to analyze performance across her partners. Finally, assembles dashboards that bring multiple reports together into a single high-level view, using tables and charts to monitor end-to-end performance and drill into problem areas in real time. You'll notice that everything Myra does is no code. The ORD user experience is designed so that business users work with familiar business objects and drag and drop tools. By the end, you should be able to put yourself in Myra's shoes and say, given the data flowing through Mint and Opus, I know how to turn that into reports and dashboards my organization needs. Now on to ORD catalog and roles. The standard ORD query objects, reports, and dashboards are available in the ORD Marketplace catalog. That means, as a report designer, you don't have to start from a blank page. You can take a standard query object from the Marketplace catalog, copy it into your company catalog, and adapt it to your needs. Do the same with standard reports. The standard ORD query objects, reports, and dashboards are available in the ORD Marketplace catalog. This means, as a report designer, you don't have to start from a blank page. You can take a standard query object from the Marketplace catalog, copy it into your company catalog, and adapt it to your needs. Do the same with standard reports and dashboards. Copy, tweak, and version them rather than building everything from scratch. You can copy existing query objects, reports, or dashboards from the Marketplace catalog or company catalog to create new versions and iterate safely without losing the original. So if we bring this back to Myra, Myra's team might start with our out-of-the-box Mint reports and dashboards that we publish into the catalog. Their report designers can then copy those into your company catalog, adjust filters, add computed fields, or change visualizations, and publish them as their standard views. Over time, their company catalog becomes their internal library of approved query objects, reports, and dashboards that reflect how Myra's organization wants to monitor suppliers, 3PLs, and customers. As you work with ORD, I want you to think of catalogs as your starting point and your safety net. They give you ready-made content to begin with and a controlled way to version and share your own analytics assets across environments and teams. Within ORD, there are two roles, the Report Builder Creator and Report User. The Report Builder Creator role allows a user to create, configure, and manage query objects, reports, and dashboards. They define the reusable query objects, build and edit reports, and assemble dashboards. They can search for, view, create, edit, and manage query objects that the company can use as the basis for its reports, and then release those query objects to the company catalog so other report designers can use them. They also create and edit reports and dashboards using the drag and drop interface to define criteria, columns, filters, and visualizations. The report user allows a user to view reports and dashboards, but not query objects. Report users typically work with the content that report designers have set up. So tying this back to Myra. Myra herself might be a report user. She relies on reports and dashboards to answer her daily questions and may create or tweak reports for her own needs. Someone in her organization, perhaps a central analytics or supply chain excellence team, would hold the report builder creator role, responsible for defining the shared query objects, standard reports, and dashboards that everyone uses. Powered by Tracing's next generation OPUS Ensemble interface, the main elements of ORD user interface are the side menu. This is your primary navigation hub, giving you fast access to your query objects, reports, and dashboards. Everything you need to get to insights quickly. The visibility of the menu items in the side menu is controlled by roles and permissions. The main content area. In the center is the main content area. This is where your work happens, that is viewing data, exploring results, and interacting with your reports and dashboards. Operations toolbar. Along the top, you'll find the operations toolbar. Think of this as your action center, where you can run key commands, refine what you're looking at, and manage how information is displayed. Together, the side menu, main content area, and operations toolbar create a streamlined, powerful workspace that helps you move efficiently from data to decisions. I'm going to show you the ORD user interface now. From the main menu, navigate to reports and dashboards. And here we have query objects, reports, and dashboards. Different elements of ORD are classified into 3 categories: company, marketplace, and all. As mentioned earlier, the main content area is the place where you interact with data. On top right of the main content area, there is an operations toolbar, which is context sensitive. Using this toolbar, you perform actions on the business objects. For example, use the filter operation to narrow down the search result. There are a few key operations that apply across query objects, reports, and dashboards in ORD. Let's start with states. Each of these elements, query objects, reports, and dashboards, move through different states as you work through them. Initially, when you create one of these elements, it starts off in the edit state. This is where you define the attributes, make configurations, and set everything up. Once you're done with your setup, you transition the element into the release state. This is an important rule to remember. A query object must be in the release state before it can be used to generate a report. Similarly, a report must be released before it can be used in a dashboard. One more key point is that once an element is in the release state, it can no longer be edited directly. If you need to make changes, you have 2 options: either create a copy or create a new version, and then make your edits there. Now let's continue looking at how we manage ORD elements, query objects, reports, and dashboards. Specifically, the common toolbar operations you'll most often use are copy, new version, and new. Just note, only the report builder creator role can perform these operations. Copy lets you duplicate an existing element, either from the marketplace to your company or within the company catalog. The new copy will always start in the edit state. New version is used when the existing object is released and you want to update it. The new version also starts in edit, ready for changes. New means you're starting completely from scratch, perfect for unique or custom use cases. So think of it in this way: copy is to reuse, new version is to improve, and new is to create something entirely original. I'm now going to show you some ORD common toolbar operations in the system. From query objects, let's go to company. And to create a copy, select the desired query object row from the search table and select copy. In the copy push panel, Select the company from the catalog type dropdown, enter the new query object name, and select Apply. The state of the new query object will then be in Edit. To create a new version, again highlight the row, select New Version, and Apply. The state of the new query object is changed from Release to Edit, and the version number appended from the previous version. If you want to release a query object, select the desired query object link, which is in the Edit state. Click into it, select Edit, and move to Released. Then save any changes. Now on to query objects. Query objects serve as the basis for reports. Remember the car analogy covered earlier. In the car, the engine sensors are the query objects which collects various data, for example, engine RPM, its temperature, etc. from the engine. Similarly, in ORD, these query objects collect data from various application-level business objects, for example, PO from Mint application. They consist of one primary object and optionally one or more secondary, tertiary, and even quaternary objects, all of which are business objects in a selected tracing application. These objects define the types of data that will appear in a report. When creating query objects, there is flexibility in creating a query object from scratch, tailoring them to suit specific reporting requirements. Alternatively, you can leverage existing query objects from your company catalog or the TraceLink marketplace. From a user perspective, report designers search for, view, create, edit, and manage query objects that their company can use as the basis for reports, then release them to the company catalog so other report designers can use them. Report users don't see query objects directly. They just use the reports built on top of them, which ensures that they can focus on the data in the report instead of the report's underlying structure. There are two main ways to create a query object in ORD. First, you can start with the marketplace catalog. These query objects are pre-configured by TraceLink and cover common use cases. You can simply copy one into your company catalog and then tweak it to meet your specific needs. The second option is to create a new query object from scratch. This is ideal when you have a unique use case that isn't covered by the marketplace options. Let's look at how object relationships work in ORD. You always start by choosing your primary object. This is the main business object you want to build your report around. For example, you might select external manufacturing sent purchase order as your primary object. From there, you can begin linking the related objects. ORD supports building these relationships up to 4 levels deep. These are your secondary, tertiary, and quaternary objects. Essentially, each level connects to the one above it, allowing you to bring in more detailed or related data. For each relationship you define, you'll specify the from object and from attribute, where the data originates, the direction, whether it's incoming or outgoing. And for Mint-related query objects, you can relate the direction concept with the transaction direction, whether the transaction is coming to your system or going out from your system. The to object and to attributes, where the related data connects. Note, it's recommended to use base field and pay attention to item level versus transaction level information, as the fields are often duplicated. Now we'll connect the query object concept directly to a concrete Mint example. Purchase orders and PO acknowledgement together in one query object. In the Myra scenario, she wants to compare the PO acknowledgement data against PO requested to see where there are gaps or delays. To do that, she needs a query object that brings those two streams of data together. Myra starts on the query object search page and finds a pre-built query object. When she opens it, you can see her primary object is that PO. You can see her secondary object is the PO acknowledgement. This is already ready for her to use, so it's going to come available for her out of the box. This query object is built on the Mint application, where POs and PO acts are modeled as business transaction objects within the procure-to-pay process. Note, for building accurate query objects, you need an understanding of the related solution, for example, Mint. I'm now going to show you how to create a new query object and then release the query object. Under Query Objects, go to Company and select Add New. We need to give it a query object name, the application name. In this case, it's Multi-Enterprise Information Network Tower, Mint. the primary object. The catalog type is company. Now to add a secondary object, select Add and enter the secondary business object. We'll select this and save to create the query object. We're now in view mode. To push it to release state, select Edit and move to and save. If we now go back to query objects and company, we can see that our query object is in the release state now. Now on to reports. For this slide, we're going to focus on the concept of reports in OPUS Reports and Dashboards, what they are and how they behave, before we go deeper into how Myra builds one. In ORD, reports leverage query objects to display tabular data for business objects that meet the specified criteria. They are no-code interactive tables that retrieve data based on a selected query object and user-defined criteria, and then allow users to filter, sort, group, pivot, and apply computed fields for deeper analysis. You can think of a report as having three main parts. You first select the query object. Then you define the report criteria such as process network and partner selection, filters like delivery date ranges, which columns, fields you want to include. Lastly, you interact with the reports. Once the data is retrieved, reports provide a rich set of interactive features, hide, show, and reorder columns, filtering and sorting directly in the table, group by and pivot mode to summarize data at different levels, computed columns to create custom metrics, for example, difference between ASN and PO delivery dates, using drag and drop operators instead of code. All of this is done through an intuitive drag and drop interface that displays real-time data during creation. In the Myra scenario, this looks like Myra selects the PO and POAC query object, names her report and saves it. She defines report criteria, chooses the external manufacturing network, selects one or all partners, and adds a delivery date filter using the date picker. She selects fields from both PO and POACs, applies the criteria, and the mixed PO and POAC data comes back in a single table. She then uses interactive features, hiding columns, reordering, grouping by PO number, and adding a computed column for the gap between PO and POAC delivery dates to turn raw data into a meaningful performance view. I'm now going to show you how to create a new report. To create a new report, go to Reports and Company, select Add New, enter a report name and the query object name. We'll select this one. Set the latest query object version to true. Notice that the catalog type is company. Then select Save. A new company report is then created in its edit state. I'm going to demonstrate in a moment how to configure the report, but before that, let's see how to save a marketplace report as a company report. To do that, go to Marketplace, select the row of the report you want to copy, and then select Copy. Enter the catalog type, company, and a new report name. Then Apply. Now go to Reports and Company. And here's the report I've just created from the Marketplace. Now I'm going to show you how to edit a report using report operations. On the Search Company's report screen, select the hyperlink for the report you want to edit. We'll take this one for example. Click into it. First, we'll change the report criteria. Select Report Criteria. We'll keep the process network as external manufacturing orchestration and change the partner this time to RenderEco so that we only view the POACs from RenderEco. And Apply. If you wish to change the title, just click into it, and now you can edit the title. The same with the assistive text. Click into it, and now you can change the assistive text. Let's take a look at the Columns tab. Here you can deselect already selected columns, or select additional columns. In the rows group section, notice that its present group is already created. This group lets the report arrange the data in group. To add more row groups, you can drag the report column in the row groups. Select this icon and drag it into the row groups. Alternatively, you can select the column here and drag it into the group section here. You can do a lot of report operations in the report, like computing, aggregation, etc. Those operations are covered in the advanced courses on ORD. Now I'm going to move this report to release state and save. Finally, let's take a look at dashboards. In ORD framework, dashboards is the top layer. Dashboards let you see a variety of data on a single page using tables and a wide range of charts. They are built on top of reports and provide a high-level visual summary of key metrics. If you recall the car analogy, in the car, all the data retrieved from sensors is presented to you in the car dashboard, so you can quickly assess the situation and take real-time decisions. Dashboards are highly interactive and configurable. Users can add, remove elements, change chart types, and configure colors, legends, and styles per chart type. Dashboards support interactive filters across all elements. Users can filter data across the entire dashboard using predefined filters such as a process network or partner selection, ensuring that all visualizations are in sync with the user's context. Builders can wire up filters on strings, numbers, and dates so that changing, for example, a delivery date filter refreshes multiple dashboard elements at once. Dashboards are designed for high-level, cross-network, cross-application visibility. Dashboards pull data from multiple process networks and applications, providing a holistic view of supply chain performance. Now tying this to Myra. Myra now needs more than a single report. She wants a single page where she can see the PO versus POAC performance report she created earlier, inventory balances at her CMOs, PO acknowledgements from suppliers. She uses ORD dashboards to bring all of this together. I'm now going to show you how to create a new dashboard, then how to configure the dashboard, and finally release the dashboard. Coming into dashboards now, we'll go to Company and Add. We'll enter a dashboard name and save. Now to configure the dashboard. Select Section 1, select Drag and Drop field, then select the report you wish to use, and drag that into Section 1. You need to wait for some time for the report to appear in the section. Here we see the results. In the top right-hand corner, select the chart icon. To change the chart type, select the dots icon and edit chart. Select the desired chart type, for example, pie chart. Once you're happy with the visualization, select Save. Now to release the dashboard, select Move to and Save. That brings us to the end of this training session. Firstly, I gave an introduction. Then we looked at the ORD overview and framework, ORD catalog and roles, query objects, reports, and finally dashboards. If you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to email traceLinkUniversity@tracelink.com. Thank you for your time today.